Hey everybody, how you doing? Today I'm here with my dear friend and colleague Brandon Peele. And Brandon is a breakthrough founder and thought leader in the purpose discovery space. So he helps people discover their purpose and then put that into their work and into their lives and into their relationships. Thank you for joining us today.
It's great to be here, Jared.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, wow, where to begin? So, as Jared mentioned, I am a purpose guide. And what that means is I have the privilege to work with people to find their life's purpose and create breakthrough careers they're full of self-expression. So where they get to walk, talk, be their purpose, create their livelihood from their purpose. And it's truly a joy to be a part of this work.
You have helped me uncover so many different elements of my own business and kind of given me this global perspective of what kind of impact I could have. And I feel like having someone like Brandon on your team and on your side rooting for you, he just gives you this global perspective of like, well, you could impact thousands of people and maybe even millions. So don't think small out there when you're creating the purpose. Today we're going to go through some questions and some exercises to help you guys distinguish and really kind of, what's a good term for it? I know it's an exploration, but what's a good term that you help people discover?
Yeah, I think discovery is really the
Discovery,
piece.
okay.
Yeah, you'll be discovering today.
So are we discovering a new world? Are we discovering places within ourselves that are already there?
Yeah, so a good metaphor for the purpose journey is kind of that of David. So Da Vinci's David.
Da Vinci's, okay, it was like David and Goliath.
Yeah, I know. And
there's a lot of Davids out there.
And his philosophy was not that there was anything new to add to the rock, but just some impurities to remove. So in a sense, the purpose discovery journey is just getting clear on what's already there and seeing the pattern, seeing the deeper care, which you're really passionate about, what you want to burn your boats for, and removing all the stuff that's really not you.
You've been using this term, burn your boats. So just walk people through what that means to you, because I now love that. And it's really like a kind of a driving motivational force for me.
Yeah.
So walk people through when you say burn your boats, because I don't think a lot of people actually know what that means.
Yeah, so it's something I use to distinguish a particular type of purpose. So many people, when they think of purpose, they think of just somebody who says they're going to do something and then they do it. And that's fine. But oftentimes where that purpose is generated, or where that intention is generated, is from the ego, or from kind of what people think they should be doing. Like they should be the first app in this space, or they first should be the first person to ever do this, or they need to be just like so-and-so, but with a little bit of flair from so-and-so. And it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's certainly better than just sitting on the couch. But it's not something you would burn your boats. You wouldn't burn your boats to go be somebody else. So the idea of burning your boats is like you're on a voyage, and you've discovered land, and you're basically saying, I'm going to stay here until I get the job done. Like I'm burning the boats. I'm building a life inside of this purpose. And so I use that term to distinguish like when your life's purpose actually comes from a deeper place. So it comes from within you. Like you are this person. You've got to accomplish these things, contribute in this way. And there's really no qualms about it. There's no second guessing. You know that that's who you are and that's what you're meant to be doing.
I mean, imagine that visual. You see land, it's in the distance, you're not sure if you can make that swim, and you just say, guys, we're burning the boat, we're jumping in, and there's no looking back. That's our next destination, and we have to get there, because there is literally nothing to go back to.
Yeah.
And I find that is like so committed.
It's commitment.
And like
it's
that
totally
is commitment
committed.
in such a deep level of like, there is no going back. And I like that because it's just like, there's just so much that you have to just agree with in yourself of just saying, I am this, and I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And it's not even like I'm not sure. It's like, it's full on commitment, and it's coming from a place of deeper values, which we're going to help explore today.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, cool. So stay tuned. We're going to break this into a couple segments, and you can watch them as you have time. Thanks for coming back. In this segment, we're going to distinguish why is purpose discovery work so key to thought leadership. Go ahead.
Yeah, so all of you are thought leaders, right? You all are great at something. You all are regarded as experts, right? Now, what distinguishes like a true thought leader, somebody who's going to have a big breakthrough or breakout of whatever their industry is how personally connected they are. Mm-hmm. So when a thought leader gets clear that this is the thing they're going to burn their boats for, that like they're, whatever it is, whether it's your passionate about craft brews, whether you're a sustainability expert, that for some reason that this mission, this purpose fulfills something that is so core to who you are. So there's a lot of information out there, right? People can probably learn all they need to learn about you on the internet, right? If they just want to get the text, like, okay, what do they do? But what's really going to move the needle, what's going to turn them into a client, what's going to turn them into an early adopter is like, oh, wow, that person actually cares. So I'll give you an example. Like a lot of folks, I spent the first 25 years of my life being somebody else, living that default purpose, that kind of ego level purpose. I basically wanted to be my dad plus 30%. Like I wanted to make 30% more money.
Better version of dad.
Yeah, just like, date 30% more women and go to 30% more cooler parties or whatever it was. Like that was just kind of what I thought. And I did that, and it was empty. It was hollow inside. And so...
What were some of the signals that it was hollow?
The big piece was I was angry, and I was getting arrested a lot. That was the other piece. I was partying really hard to escape being this false self. And so the reason
So there's an emotional conflict inside.
Yeah.
Somewhere there's an emotional conflict inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, I'm being one person out there, but I'm really a different person here.
Got it. Okay.
And so the reason I share this with you is because I'm personally connected to the pain of being dissociated from my soul, from who I really am. And so when I share about purpose, it comes from a place of knowing how painful and sad and dysfunctional it is to live without it. And so in the same way, whatever you're passionate about, whatever your thought is, it has to come from a deep place. I would even say a wound that you need to be able to touch it so you can authentically communicate who it is you really are.
That was really wonderful. Like that whole arc description from going through an angry phase into this open phase. One of the things I've been kind of focusing on is a lot of us are coming to this with find your passion and explore your passion. And recently I heard a really breakthrough founder talk about actually kind of keep your passion as a motivational force, but find the empathy. Find the empathy in the consumer and the customer and the person and the community that you want to serve, and really get clear and connected with that empathy so that you can serve from there. And then use that passion as a fuel force, but have that guiding force be empathy, actually. So I think some of this kind of resonates with what you're speaking about.
Yeah, that's perfect, Jared. And that's kind of one of the things that distinguishes something that's purely a passion from something that is you're going to burn the boats for. So I'm passionate about lots of stuff.
Yeah.
I love scotch and karaoke and traveling and watching my fiance sleep and whales and bison. I can get really fired up.
Start businesses in all of those realms. Yeah.
But and you see it. Unfortunately, you see it all the time in Brooklyn and Oakland. People think that because they like food, they need to have a food truck.
Yeah.
Or because they, music is so important to them that they need to be musicians. And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's something missing still. There's got to be that deeper why. What is that thing that is going to, how are you going to empathize with the people who are going to receive the gift? And that has to come from a deeper knowing about what was missing in your own life and how you're providing your service so that other people can basically be healed themselves in some regard.
And in week 2 of the course, we're actually really exploring why and what is the deeper foundation of your why, your personal why, of why you got into this. But this is today a little bit more introspective work. It really helps clarify how you're going to kind of live out in the world. And then in week 2, we're going to explore a little bit more about why. Hey, so we're back. So we're going to be diving into how purpose discovery kind of accelerates thought leadership and breaks that mold.
Yeah, and so this really kind of goes to kind of the lean startup methodology. So what determines what's going to be successful is how quickly you can iterate, right? And after so many iterations, you will lose steam. After hearing no so many different times, you're just going to be ugh, no. And so when you're connected to your life's purpose, that's what gives you the grit. When you've burned the boats, when you're you know what? No just means not this way. It doesn't mean go get a day job.
I call that the hustle.
The hustle, yeah.
That's my daily hustle.
Yeah, it gives you access to that grit just to be unstoppable. And not unstoppable in terms of forcing yourself, but to not hear no as invalidation, but no as okay, that path is closed, let's try this one.
It reminds me of that quote by Edison. I've invented 800 things and I figured out 1,000 or 10,000 things that didn't work.
Yeah.
I found all the paths that didn't work. It wasn't like a fail or success model. It was just like, okay, I'm going to just keep trying paths and see which works. And that's the unstoppability of a leader.
So a thought leader is someone who's got a big vision and can, inspire and move forward a company or an industry. And a leader, which is a sizable component of that thought leadership.
Yep.
I would like to argue that there is no such thing as leader without purpose. Without it, you just have management. You just have somebody
That's
who's
a really
like
important clarification.
Yeah, you're just like you're managing risks.
Yeah.
You're not.
And you could be doing a great job at that.
Yeah, you can do it. And there's nothing wrong with being a manager.
No.
But it's like nobody's going to remember Steve Ballmer for Microsoft. They're gonna
some coworkers might. He might get a nice watch when he retires.
Yeah.
But he's not going to have a massive impact on a lot of people's lives potentially.
Right.
And that's one of the things we're to distinguish is that there's amazing experts all over the world, and they're hidden, and not a lot of people know, and not a lot of people are impacted by their work. So I think that's a key component of this discussion is like you want to be impacting. There's no quantifier that needs to be there. It doesn't have to be hundreds or thousands, but you have to be impacting a variety of people's lives in a positive way.
Yeah. And what gives you access to that is connection to your purpose, because people recognize authenticity and inauthenticity.
I feel like we're almost in an authentic era where authenticity is like your gold and your shining armor right now. And if you can show your authenticity through, and it's real, especially with millennials, they keep releasing studies about this. The millennials, especially from 18 to 30 right about now, can really smell out inauthenticity.
Yeah.
And they just bail. They just jump ship. They leave companies, they leave jobs, they leave brands, they leave friendships. And it's just really important that people are authentic, and having access to your purpose is like a well of authenticity, right?
Yeah, it's basically your insurance policy. That you will always be authentic because you know your purpose. Now, where folks can get kind of caught up in it is this. It's almost like humble bragging, where they like get over the top vulnerable, and it's that too can be like inauthentic. So there's kind of like a narrow range of like being true and personal and being connected to the emotion and what it is you're doing, but not being like a total mess all over the place.
So if you could leave them with a key insight, is like how do you find that little balance point?
Golly, I don't have
it's hard
it.
To find.
I don't have it. I think it's more art than science. Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to be blending a little bit of art and science here. You're going to be feeling how people are responding to you. I find that's a good indicator. If people are not attracted to you and your business and what you're creating, that's a good indicator that maybe you're not on purpose. Maybe you're off a bit because people are going, hey, there's something about you that I'm just not jiving with. It's almost like magnetic.
Yeah.
And I'm just feeling a pushback as opposed to that magnetic attraction where people are like, I want more. So I think for me, that's a good external indicator of like, am I on here? Am I being authentic right now? Or is there something else happening that's up in the head and the ego?
Yeah. That's great.
Hey, everybody, we're back. So we're exploring purpose with Brendan Peele here. And we're going to be going through some of the benefits that you're going to feel in your life and see externally by actually discovering your purpose.
Yeah. And there's basically been troves of research that have come out over the last nearly 30 years. I mean, it's insane how much research there is. And these aren't just kind of random institutes.
Studies,
it's like IBM, the EU, Harvard, Stanford, Cornell, UNC, U of I. I mean, like literally our species' greatest institutions are studying this phenomenon. Like why do people who know their purpose tend to have these extraordinary lives?
Yeah. So go ahead. What are some of the top benefits for people that they can hope to experience?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to finish with leadership because I think that's where the most listening is. But I'll just quickly mention that folks who know their life's purpose tend to live up to 7 years longer. And the reason for this is they suspect, again, it's all speculation right now, is that when you have that kind of background narrative of purpose or like what your life is about, that your cortisol levels come down. And so
that's your stress hormone.
Yeah, it's like your stress hormone. And it's also what eats away at your tissues and your cell structures.
Got it.
So they've been, there's a UCLA UNC study that correlated people who know their life's purpose with actually healthier cell walls. So
Wow.
like their cell structures are actually stronger than those who don't.
Literally changing your.
Literally changing your physiology.
Yeah.
And so, if you want to live a long, happy, healthy life, purpose is a good thing. The other piece is around relationships. So, when you know your purpose, the effect that it has in a relationship, you're calling in a person that's going to support you on your journey, and you're going to support them, and vice versa, in a very articulate, overt way. And you're able to set strong boundaries. So there's none of this kind of codependency, none of this kind of relationship dysfunction, because everyone knows who they are in the marriage or in the partnership. And they've done studies that found that people who know their life's purpose experience being in love 31% more of the time. So you know those butterflies, like, my partner.
You get that more. It's not just in the beginning phase.
Yeah, you just get it more because you're, a big piece of it is like you're not running rackets because you're just, what you care about. You're not like, there's some injustice.
You're not distracted by all the other things in the world. Yeah,
you don't get distracted by the nonsense. You don't sweat the petty things. So the last piece is around leadership, and that's why a lot of us are here today. And people who know their life's purpose are 50% more likely to be a leader in their company or their industry.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
50.
50.
That's huge.
And this is a NYU imperative study that came out in 2016, I believe.
There's lots of research on your website.
Yeah, you can go to
your website.
You can go see it all. But in addition to the leadership piece, when you know your purpose, you're 64% more likely to be fulfilled, 47% more likely to feel abundant. You have a 20% longer tenure. I mean, it's just like know your purpose, and you're on fire.
Incredible statistics.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Statistics. And what was the powerful statistic that is the negative right now? How many people are disenchanted right now?
Yeah,
and detached from their purpose.
It is a pretty sad statistic.
Yeah, okay.
So Gallup studies these things, and Gallup discovered that 87% of adults around the world are disengaged from their careers. So like they've not found something of personal significance other than the paycheck.
Got it.
So
maybe the paycheck isn't even doing it.
Yeah, and yeah.
Maybe they love their coworkers and don't even like the money.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things to realize in your own life. If any of this is resonating with you or it's coming out right now, like, I actually do kind of feel a little bit like that at work, or that's why I started this course, because I really want to break through into a different career or into a different life. This is one of your access points. It's not just some of the actual physical mechanisms that we're going to be leveraging. This is one of those internal mechanisms that you're going to leverage that hits what I'm hearing is your career, your relationships, your health, your longevity in life.
Yep.
Your relationship to your family and your friends and your kids. So for me, it's been a key access point to be conscious of first, and then go, well, how do I actually kind of develop this day to day or month to month?
Yeah.
All right. So stay tuned. We're going to be talking a little bit more about how do we actually get access points into purpose. Hey, thanks for coming back. So we're here with Brandon Peele again, purpose discovery work. So what do you think is some of the most effective ways to get clarity around your purpose in this process?
Yeah, it's a great question, because if I could sell everyone a purpose pill, I would, right? It's like, it's something that you can begin anytime, and it also continues. So, I've been 5 years as a purpose guide, and I'm still doing purpose discovery work. Like, I'm still seeing kind of new contours. It's not lateral shifts. I'm not a baker one week and then a carpenter the next week. It's just like, actually
it's the onion peel.
Yeah, it's the onion peel. Like you're just kind of getting just slightly closer to the ground.
And I think you just mentioned something. You can start this at any age and any stage of your life, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with people who are 15 and people who are 92.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And boomers especially are so hot after this, but. How do you actually find it? Like, what does it look like? What are the most effective, efficient ways to do it? There's a number of great books out there, but none of them will really get you there.
Interesting. That's what I feel about books right now.
Yeah.
It's a resource, but it's not a process.
I mean, I love it as a purpose geek. I read them all. I think, they're great. I get to learn more contours. But in terms of actually moving you closer to your life's purpose, it happens in exercises. So there's got to be some piece of structure that you're going to do, whether that's work one-on-one with a purpose guide, do a course, but it really happens inside the exercise. So 3 places that people tend to kind of gravitate towards when they hear the word purpose I just want to share a few of them with you. So the first is, what is your optimal state of being? So
when I'm happy, what does that mean?
Well, I'll put it this way.
Because on a beach in Maui is when I'm happy, but I don't think the question you're asking.
Yeah, no, it's really like, what is the Jaredness of Jared? Like, what is it like to be you on the inside?
Okay.
When you are kind of feeling your flow, like how do you know yourself? Is it alive? Is it creative? Is it compassionate? Is it connected?
So are they kind of values, personal values that you're exploring?
They could be considered values. Now,
Okay.
I make a distinction between kind of your essence and your values.
Okay.
But like, basically, state of being is like who you are without doing anything. When you're unencumbered by the world, the stuff that gets in your way of your purpose, like what's left.
Okay.
So for me,
feel free to. I'll be the guinea pig in this experiment.
Yeah.
We've done some of this work, but I feel.
Yeah.
So when I'm in the zone, I feel enlightened. I feel very light. I feel kind of joyful. I feel a little giddy, and I feel sometimes emotional.
Yeah.
Like I can drop into higher states of emotion easily,
Mm-hmm.
whether that be empathy or joy or passion or kind of sadness for something because I'm feeling deep empathy around something.
Yeah.
So I feel like when I'm in that place, I'm more connected.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you mentioned sadness because I'm gonna touch on that's the third piece there. So the second piece is the activities that you regard as your highest contribution. So for example, like I love karaoke.
You do.
I probably could make a living as like a karaoke lounge singer.
Maybe. I don't know if that's a thing, but you could start it. You could be the thought leadership and karaoke singer.
So, but the thing is, it's not my highest contribution. Like, I'm also really good at
it's not your highest expression.
Yeah. It's like I'm good at lifting heavy things, and I'm good at all sorts of stuff that like not my greatest leverage point for moving the ball forward for somebody. So that's where you want to look. Is like what things what are the things that you do that are of greatest value that folks just really recognize that you have a natural talent for. So you want to look there.
We're going to be doing a little exercise about that, and you're going to be tapping your community and kind of asking them some of these harder questions and some of your core network people. So we're actually going to be doing that in this course.
Great.
Yeah.
And then
I think there was a third.
Yeah, and the third one is what you touched on, Jared. And this is it's slightly different than the first two. The first two kind of look at you. The last one actually looks out at the world. And it's like, what breaks your heart? Like, you look at any newspaper, any TV. Yeah. It's like a giant sob story generally. Yeah. But there's a few things that you personally are called to. I talked earlier about that personal pain, and really that's kind of where that deepest heartbreak lies. It's like you're aware of what it's like to not have a thing, and you want to go, not necessarily fix that exact same thing, but you want to contribute yourself in a way that's going to make the world better in that sort of way.
So give me an example. So let's say I'm looking at a newspaper and I see child hunger, I see Syrian refugees, I see flood damage in New Orleans. So what are some of the indicators? Like, oh yeah, I feel bad about all those things. Yeah. But you're saying there's a deeper resonance there.
Yeah. And a good place to look for, so oftentimes I'll have people write down like 10 things that break their heart.
10 things that break your heart. So if you got a pad and you want to do this exercise, write down and look through, do you want them to look through media?
Yeah, you can do that. You can look through a newspaper, or TV, or just like look what's going on in your life and your community. Like homeless people break my heart. Right? Yeah. Now, how you can kind of tune your tuning fork to see which are the ones that really you feel called to
impact.
Yeah, that's where you look at your personal story. Like, where's my personal story?
Interesting.
Most relevant to this dynamic. And so,
what's an example for you in that area?
So, kind of like how I shared before, like growing up, being raised as somebody else, like being dissociated from my true identity, that's like the thing. So, like when I do that list, like when I see oppression, when I see, it's basically, all things around oppression. Okay. So like
personal oppression, people not being self-expressed in their lives.
Yeah, so I mean, I relate to minority causes very easily,
Hey everybody, we're back with Brandon Peele. We're kind of on the end of the purpose discovery work in this course. So now they've had some exercises. They've kind of started to distinguish some of the purpose. So how do they now take some of these elements and put it into their brand, put it into a business, and put it into you becoming a thought leader? So how do you actually suggest that?
Yeah. So as a thought leader, it presumes that you've got a focus, right? You're not like Christopher Hitchens, who like speaks about everything in the cosmos, right? You're just a person who's an expert, and you're gonna contribute there. Now that being said, a big part of your brand is your wholeness as a human being. So in the same way that I know Jared recommends like that 80-20 rule in terms of like sharing stuff that is from other sources 80% of the time, and from your own life and your own business 20% of the time. I like to apply that same thing to my social media.
Oh, cool.
Meaning
Yeah,
like,
rule.
yeah, a
Okay.
slightly different one.
Yeah, yeah.
But at like 80% of it is like on message. Like
Okay.
just purpose. For me, it's purpose. For you to be something else.
Mm-hmm.
And that 20% kind of like rounds you out. Like,
Okay.
Like I get really excited about all the political movements right now. So I post on
Yeah.
that, or on my girlfriend, or
Okay.
on whatever. Just like,
So it relates to content, it relates to brand storytelling.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it definitely can drive that kind of brand storytelling, content sharing strategy.
Mm-hmm. I know for me, when I was developing Brickhouse Media, I had to think of, I was debating changing the name, and I thought, well, it always makes people kind of giddy and have fun when I say Brickhouse. And even to this day, when I give people a card or I tell them where I work or what I do, they just kind of laugh. And again, it kind of brings me back to that authentic place of like, oh, you're laughing. I want to kind of bring that out. And it's not a stupid laughter. It's like a fun, kind of joyful, oh, yeah, I love that. And so that was one of those questions I had to think like, okay, well, this is something I should keep.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those aspects of the brand and of the company that I should keep because it resonates with me personally, and it kind of brings out an emotional response in other people.
Yeah.
When you're branding, you want to think about things that are memorable. You want to think about things that kind of inspire people to learn more, and you also want to think about things that like people resonate with the idea that you're actually doing. One of the examples I give is Lyft, the rideshare company. They're literally lifting you up, and it's a great analogy. So when you see the cars and you see the branding, it all aligns. The color scheme, everything aligns. I think one of the brands we talked about in an earlier session is Uber. They're actually struggling a little bit because they're not really on purpose, and their leadership isn't always on purpose. Travis, and so that's one of those things where it's very popular and it's very successful, but we might see it tank incredibly, or maybe not.
Yeah.
But it definitely struggles as a brand. So those are some of the internal questions you want to kind of distinguish around how do we extract these purpose components and put them into your business and your branding and your storytelling. Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to say about that?
Well, especially the storytelling piece, because not that everything needs to come back to the brand or come back to your particular flavor of thought leadership, but that you want to have, as you're sharing about yourself and about what it is you're passionate about, you want to err on the side of being vulnerable. Really go to a place that's scary. Not too scary, but like something like, a lot of people, their metric is like, well, would my grandmother like to read this? Like, feel free to like piss grandma off a little bit. Like go to that place that is really scary for you. And that will help tell your story. People will get connected to you, and then you then have the opportunity to bring it back or not to your thought leadership.
It reminds me of how comedians like Louis C.K. Throws out his material every year and has to reinvent himself. And he's always testing himself to see, can I do this, and can I push the boundaries? And he's really a comic thought leader right now in his comedy world. And it's only because he's willing to go to these scary places. And he's like, should I talk about this? Should I even be bringing this topic up? And when he gets that emotional response, he kind of knows he's on purpose.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm getting this response from people, and it's emotional, and it's resonating. So that's a good indicator, like we talked about, of like how to know when you've extracted that purpose and you play it out in the world that you're getting feedback, that it's working.
Yeah.
And that it's authentic.
Yeah. Bingo.
So we're going to be going through some exercises with Brandon. He's going to be having you kind of walk through a little bit of a step-by-step question process. That's going to help you distinguish your own purpose in this process. Obviously, like you said, this is a long journey. So we're just embarking on something, and we're not even scuttling the boat yet, are we?
Yeah. Yeah.
So at what point do you get to where you go, not I'm done, but I feel good? Is there a metric, or is there a point where you go, okay, good?
Yeah.
How do you know when you're done a little bit to move forward?
Yeah. So let me just first say that, like, no matter where you're at in the purpose journey, Always diving in with an exercise or a program or a weekend here or there can just be helpful, at minimum, just to reconnect, like why you care about what it is you care about. Now, how do you know when you're done? Golly, I'll let you know when I get there. But
this is from the Purpose Guide.
Yeah,
it's not even done.
Yeah.
But you're on a path of discovery. You will always be on that path
always
of
be
discovery.
On that path. Yeah, I'm addicted to the work. Now, what I will share is that so when I work with clients one-on-one, I work with a model that has 10 different aspects of purpose.
Okay.
And usually, the most I can ask for from a client is that they get clear on 7 or 8.
Okay.
And so
there's your 80%.
Yeah, you get to about
All comes back to that.
You get to about 80%. There's always something that's fuzzy, and that's okay. That just means you're growing and evolving. You're not like a finished product, right? You come off a factory line. You are something that is constantly writing its own code. So there's always going to be a blurry edge, and that's why this work is so important.
So if you want to learn more about Brandon and what he does at the Purpose Discovery work, do you want to send them to a website to learn more?
Sure. You can go to brandonpeele.com, and that's where you can find out all the science and the methodology behind it. You can follow me on Twitter, at Purpose Guide, Facebook as well.
So you're going to be having access to Brandon at the end of the course. For those of you that have actually pre-selected one-on-one consultations, Brandon is one of the experts you're going to be able to do one-on-ones with. That's included in your course. So definitely kind of note that and be gentle with yourself. Be vulnerable.
Yep.
What are some other things they can kind of go into this with as far as mentality?
I would say, like, make it a game. Like,
make it a fun game.
You know, it's fun. Like, you're not bad because you're not feeling close to your purpose. Just you're whole and complete. You're loved. And when you do this work, all it does is just kind of cleans off the lens. That's it. And so make it about fun. Like, what can I discover about my purpose or about my role in this world or my thought leadership that I didn't know before?
Again, I want to thank you for joining. You've been a real motivational force in my life to reconnect with purpose. It was something I really wasn't asking until someone came into my life and started kind of asking these harder questions. Well, what is your business about? Why are you in business? And so it's going to be something we're going to be talking about in this course. Why are you doing this? What's the deeper motivation? Because, man, when you're up late and you're working hard and your family's waiting, or your girlfriend or your partner or whoever is waiting for you to be finished or done or grow, you got to have a deeper purpose. You got to align with that deeper purpose and go, I know why I'm doing this, and I know who I'm serving. And so it's just been awesome to have you in my life, have your work in my life, and keep deepening this.
Awesome.
So thank you.
Do we kiss now?
No, we don't kiss now.
Okay, we'll kiss later.
Thanks everybody for watching, and looking forward to explaining next week to you. And we're going to be talking about why and storytelling and how we take some of these attributes of purpose and put it into story literally. All right, thanks again.
Take care.